House.
Roadhouse.
That too.
Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 favorite House episodes. Yes. Me and Lindsay have been binging this show. We binged the whole thing. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a medical show called House. It's a great show. It's one of the best TV drama shows ever made. It's an incredible show. I watched this show quite a bit throughout my childhood and stuff. I remember quite a few episodes, but I never watched the whole thing from start to finish. So yeah, that's basically what we were doing. And I love this show. It's a great show. It has some bad episodes, but all in all, it's got a lot of great episodes. And I'm here to talk about my top 10 personal favorite episodes of House. So let's get to it. Coming in number 10 is Euphoria, Part 1 and 2, Season 2, Episode 20 and 21. Season 2 is my second favorite season of House. It's a great season. 4 is my favorite season. This is a great episode, two-part episode. It's the two-part finale, I think. And this is when Dr. Foreman, played by Omar Epps, is diagnosed with this disease by this police officer, and basically both him and the police officer go into this quarantine, and they have no idea what's wrong with them. They don't know what this disease is, and they don't know if they can ever treat it. And basically Foreman is so desperate to find this cure, he is willing to do whatever it takes. He's willing to affect any people just so he can survive and live. And it's a really good episode because it deals with again with pain and loss and everything, and Foreman is trying to deal with his own grief, basically, of himself, because he has to break it to the news that his dad, to his dad, that he's dying, and he has to come to terms with his mother and everything. And just, it's a really good two-part episode with a really strong performance by Omar Epps. Dr. Foreman, I really enjoyed Dr. Foreman as a character, and I like that it shows Dr. Cameron and Dr. House really trying to figure out what is happening, and it leaves you with so many emotions, and also leaves you just with so many unanswered questions. But it ends good, just to say. But if you haven't seen the episode, but Euphoria Part 1 and 2, great episode. Number 9, Everybody Dies, the finale. I don't want to spoil too much in case you haven't seen the show yet and you're just watching because you just want to know my favorite episodes without spoilers. It's great. It's great. It's the proper way to do it, the proper way to end a show, and it just shows the bromance. What makes the show just incredible is the bromance between Dr. Gregory House and my favorite character, Dr. James Wilson. And they were both basically inspired by Sherlock Holmes and John Watson. And that's why they just work so well in the show. And the way what House does in the ending is just great. It's just such a brilliant and bittersweet way to end the show. And it's brilliant. Just brilliant. One of my favorite episodes. Number 8, The Right Stuff, Season 4, Episode 2. This is probably one of the funniest episodes of House. This is when House is trying to build up a new team, because Dr. Chase, Dr. Cameron, and Dr. Foreman all quit. They all left, and he basically has to find a brand new team. And the way he has to do it is so funny, and it's so great, and he has all these open auditions for these doctors in different places and stuff, and he eliminates all of them through game shows like The Apprentice and Survivor and all this stuff. It is super funny, and they all have to solve this one case, and who can figure it out the best way or figure out the House way, can move to the next round and stuff. It's like a game show, but House's own twisted, dark game show. Literally probably one of my favorite episodes because it's just so funny, and just I could tell Hugh Laurie was having just a blast with this role of House in this episode. It was just so great, and absolutely love it. Number 7 is One Day, One Room, Season 3, Episode 12. One of the most deepest episodes of House is just about House dealing with this patient who was sexually molested. And she's very religious, and she doesn't know how to come to terms with it, and she doesn't know whether to get an abortion or not. And House talks her through it and wants to talk to her about the event. Well, Technically, he doesn't want to talk to her about it, but she wants to talk to him about his life so she will feel better about her circumstances. And it's a really great episode just about the two of them learning about each other and talking about this very complicated issue. And House is a complicated guy because he doesn't have empathy towards people. Even people who are dying or got assaulted, he doesn't have empathy. He believes in always a logical explanation and a logical reasoning. He's almost like Spock. He's like Spock. He's like Sherlock Holmes. Like, he's almost borderline sociopathic, but he's all about logic and intelligence. But the fact that he opens up to this girl in this episode makes it a very deep and heartfelt episode, and definitely one of my personal favorites. Number 6, Airborne, Season 3, Episode 18. Dr. Gregory House and Lisa Cuddy are on an airplane, and this virus breaks out while they're in the air on this airplane. And basically it's up to Cuddy and House to find out what is happening. Really great episode. Won't spoil the twist of what happens, but it's a really great episode about the placebo effect and how you may think you have an illness because someone else has an illness, but you might not actually have an illness. I love that this medical show talks about the placebo effect because the placebo effect is a real thing because your brain is the most powerful thing in your body, and it can make you think that you have this illness, but there's nothing wrong with you. And this episode talks all about the placebo effect, and it's really great. Just really good episode. Number 5, A Pox on Our House. Season 7, Episode 7, A Pox on Our House. Really great episode. This is an episode about this family that find this old, jar and has, skin in it. And basically, the skin is smallpox. What they think is they have smallpox. And smallpox is like a disease that doesn't even exist anymore. So basically, House and the team have to deal with this family who might have smallpox, and they're quarantined, and they have to find a way to prove that it is not smallpox. And during this time, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, comes in, they want to intervene with it and basically take care of it in a very, very drastic measure, and House is trying to prove to them that they don't have smallpox, even though they're all clearly dying of something that looks like smallpox but is not smallpox. And House risks his life to prove that point because he even goes in and risks his own health to prove that it is not smallpox. So it's a really great episode. It's a very daring episode, and just another really intriguing episode, and you just want to know what the hell's going to happen and stuff. Really good episode. Number 4, Lockdown, Season 6, Episode 16. Lockdown's a really great episode, actually. This is, again, a very deep, dramatic episode, because basically what happens in this episode is this girl has a baby, and her baby goes missing. So basically they have to lock down the entire hospital until they find the baby. So everyone who's in a room is stuck in a room or the cafeteria. So basically, Wilson is stuck in the cafeteria with 13, and they just play truth and dare with each other the whole time, which is great. Dr. Chase and Dr. Cameron, who are just recently divorced, basically are stuck in a room together, and they basically talk about their marriage and how if they were even in love with each other the whole time. And the most important one is the best one is House is stuck in a room with a man who's dying, who has basically congenital heart failure, and is played by David Strathairn, who's a great actor. And basically the two of them just talk about how House could have had him as a patient, but he turned him down, and because he turned him down, he's dying. And it makes House think about all the patients he turns down, because he only takes one patient a week. So all the patients he turns down, how many lives he lost because he turned down all these patients. And the fact that they learn about each other, and House talks to this patient about stuff that he never talks about with anyone, but because he knows this man is dying, he can tell him, and just he's not going to know because he's dead. And it's really interesting. It's a really deep and very emotional episode, and just an episode that always stuck with me every time I watch it. All right, number 3 is Help Me, Season 6, Episode 21, the finale of Season 6. Season 6, my third favorite season. Really solid episode, the episode Help Me. This is basically this building collapsed, and House and Cuddy have to go and join the surgeons and the paramedics and get these people out of this building. And basically there's this girl who's stuck under all the rubble, and her leg is stuck under all the building shrapnel, bricks, and shit like that. And basically, House just has to talk with her and pray that the building doesn't collapse on both of them. Basically, House goes down and just talks with this girl who's got her legs stuck under all this rubbish shit. And he has to just talk with her and hope that they both don't die. It's a really hard-hitting episode and probably got one of the most emotional endings ever. Really sad episode, and it talks a lot about House, again, and his Vicodin addiction and how he can't live with real pain, and it's a really great episode, and definitely one of the most tragic episodes and best written episodes. Number 2, though, House's Head, Season 4, Episode 15. This is the saddest episode of House ever. This is such an emotional episode. House is on a bus, and the bus crashes, and innocent people die, but an important character also dies, and House has to deal with that. And I won't spoil who it is, but it's an important character in the show, and they die, and someone else in the show is seeing this person, and he has to break the news to this person, and it is just emotional, and it's sad, and just what House has to deal with, and basically, he also almost has to come to terms with reality and everything, and just, it's such a weird and trippy episode, but also a very emotional episode. It's just absolutely brilliant. Hugh Laurie's as absolute best in this episode, and just a great episode, one of the best. But it's not my favorite. My favorite episode is 3 Stories, Season 1, Episode 21. I think it's the last episode of Season 1, second last. 3 Stories is one of the most brilliantly written episodes. It's basically House is teaching these people at this college, and he has to teach this lesson to them. And basically he gives them all 3 cases, 3 different stories, and they all have leg problems. And they all have to figure out which case is the worst case. Like, which case is the most tragic, the most fatal, the most difficult case to deal with. And basically, you're showing all 3 of these stories in these 3 cases. And he almost put the little lies into all these cases. And then you find out one of the cases is his own case and what happened to his leg. And you go into the backstory of House and his leg. It is such a brilliant way to do character development and a way to sympathize from a character who is normally not a sympathetic character, and it does it just in a genius way. And I think is one of the most best written episodes and probably the most clever episodes and the best directed episodes, and just it's always an episode that I've loved, and it's always an episode that will always stick with me, and to me it is my favorite episode of House. So yeah, that was my top 10 personal favorite House episodes. In the comment section below, please tell me, are you a fan of this show? And if you are, what are your top 10 favorite episodes of House? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.